Next Sunday, looking ahead to the AFC Championship on the line. The Ravens will either host the Bills or the Chiefs right here at M&T Bank Stadium. The excitement from the flock, plus the team's dominating performance yesterday against the Texans.
Such exciting stuff, and we are waking up to cold temperatures again this morning. Wind chill temperatures starting off in the single digits and the teens. I'll let you know when all these numbers are finally going to warm back up and when we are tracking our next weather maker too.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning to you. Looking live over Towson. That snow still on the roofs there, but it's January 21st. It's Sunday. We're winning. Let's get right to your forecast. Meteorologist Amy Aronson with some purple on your maps, but look, purple across the city yesterday.
Yeah, it was our day yesterday. Going to be our week too with the big game coming up now again next Sunday. And eventually I've got a preview of that forecast if you're planning on heading down to M&T Bank Stadium. But this morning it's just downright frigid. Hopefully you're home and cozy and enjoying some hot coffee. We're starting off feeling like we're only at 3 degrees in Westminster, 8 in Cockeysville, 12 in Baltimore. So pretty cold stuff again this morning, and not much better this afternoon. Temperatures will get awfully close to freezing today, but feel like temperatures are still stuck in the teens. We've still got some breezy conditions out there, but we are looking at some sunshine, so that should help us melt down at least a little bit of that snowpack today. I think we will see more melting as the week continues, as these numbers continue to warm, and also as our next weather maker moves in. Coming up in just about 10 minutes, I'll let you know exactly when our temperatures are going to return to the 40s and when we are tracking that next weather system too and what it means for the week ahead. Taylor?
Well, how about that win, Flock Nation? Taking a live look now at M&T Bank Stadium, where the Ravens beat the Texans 34-10. The win gives the Ravens their first AFC Championship game since 2012. They'll either face off with the Bills or the Chiefs. Well, the bank was rocking for the divisional round showdown, and the Stars were out on the Ravens sideline, tied at 3 in the first. Lamar Jackson doing some MVP things like this 23-yard pickup. With that, the first quarter coming to an end. On to the second. The same drive, but this time to Nelson Aguilar. Wide open in the end zone, making the score 10-3 Ravens. But that was the only time they found the end zone in the first half before tying the game 10-10. But Lamar Jackson putting the cherry on top with his fourth touchdown of the game. Final score here, 34-10. Ravens advancing to the NFC Championship game for the first time since 2012.
I thought our fans were incredible, man. It was deafening out there. So credit to our fans, first of all. Coaches and players, I thought, did a great job. Second half adjustments were really strong. And Lamar just played out of his mind along with our defense. Everybody did. So proud of our guys. It's the first step. The next step is in front of us. We'll find out who we play after tomorrow, and we're looking forward to it.
And that's the big question. Next, the Ravens will host the winner of the Bills and Chiefs matchup for the AFC Championship run. And the Ravens really turned it on in the second half, scoring touchdowns on their first 3 drives. Why a Lamar Jackson speech played a big role coming up in our next half hour in Sports Unlimited. Of course, some of you sent us some pictures and videos. We appreciate it. You showed off that purple pride in fierce spirit. Jeannie, sharing these pictures of her family at the game. She says it was their first ever attending a playoff game, and despite the cold, they looked pretty excited. We hope you guys stayed nice and warm and had a ton of fun. And Holly, wow, Adrian sending us this one. Baltimore Ravine, look at this. I think she wins the award for the most purple outfit. She's got the nails, the eyes, the tiara. We love it. We love to see what you wear for that AFC Championship game as well. Make sure to share your pictures and videos with us. All you have to do, scan the QR code right there. We want to see how you celebrated at home, how you're celebrating next week, and how you're cheering on the Ravens. Scan the QR code. It'll take you to foxbaltimore.com. Upload your pictures and videos. It's all powered by StatCloud. Well, this morning, Baltimore is just buzzing, showing off their pride on social media. Let's take a look at how some fans are reacting. I think this really just sums it up here. Goated. That is the way fans are feeling after that performance. But look at this. Lamar getting his Super Bowl and MVP in the same season. It is certainly LeBron kind of energy. But look at Harbaugh here. This is just epic. I mean, this is the kind of dance you do when you're heading to the championship and really gonna claim it this year? Well, we're gonna continue to follow social media and check out what fans are saying throughout the morning. But look, for the first time in more than 5 years, Baltimore will be hosting the AFC Championship game at M&T Bank Stadium. You can watch that game here on Fox 45 next Sunday. This morning, in a city in crisis, police are investigating a shooting in the Eastern District. This happened on Cecil Avenue near Adams Park. Now, once officers arrived there, they found a 25-year-old man suffering from a gunshot wound. He was shot in his arm. He was taken to the hospital and was being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. If you know anything about this incident, you can stay anonymous and give Metro Crime Stoppers a call. That number there on the bottom of your screen, 1-8667-LOCK-UP. Well, the snow and freezing temperatures Friday night did not stop the violence from heating up on the streets of Baltimore. In less than 2 hours, Baltimore police saw a quadruple and double shooting that left 5 people dead. Commissioner Worley blames the violence on the easy access to guns. Fox 45's Vincent Hill joins us with the very latest.
In southwest Baltimore, just after 8 p.m. Friday night.
We're at the airport of a shooting. I need you to start making way over Fair Lawn, 5222.
That shooting bringing Commissioner Richard Worley to the scene.
Upon arrival, our officers located 3 victims. All 3 have been pronounced deceased. All 3 are still on the scene.
3 adults killed and 1 injured, but Friday night's violence was far from over.
Can I get you this route to Pennington Hazel, getting call for a shooting?
That shooting left 2 men dead, 5 people shot and killed in Baltimore in less than 2 hours, bringing this year's homicide number to 11.
Being frustrated is probably
Commissioner Worley addressing his anger when it comes to illegal guns.
I said the other day that I don't get frustrated, but I think the gun situation here in this city is frustrating.
This video captures the city's 6th homicide. 2 suspects, both with guns, chasing the victim, opening fire on a busy street.
How they getting in their hands? Where are they coming from? Why are they so easy access?
The sounds of these gunshots, evidence of the city's 1st homicide that claimed the life of 16-year-old Noah Gibson.
But just the amount of guns on the street, I've never seen so many.
So far in 2024.
Commissioner, it seems like we started this year like we started last year with a mass casualty incident, mass shooting.
Even all through the year of 2023, a lot of incidents that would have not become shootings in the past became shootings because someone had a gun and was either argument or disrespected or something like that, and it turned into a shooting.
Deadly, with a lot of guns on the streets.
So we do know that there were at least 1 gun on the scene, possibly 2 or 3.
Now, in the meantime, Baltimore police are investigating after a body was found in Herring Run Park yesterday afternoon. Now, police say they received a call just after 2 p.m. and right now we know the victim was a 45-year-old male. Investigators say they don't see any signs of foul play at this point. The medical examiner is expected to determine the cause of death. New this morning, 2 people dead following an early morning fire in northeast Baltimore. This happened on Old York Road around 7 yesterday morning. Fire officials were called to the scene. They were met with heavy fire, smoke billowing from a 2-story building. One person was able to escape by jumping out of a window. It caused some serious injuries. That person later died at a nearby hospital. A second victim was found unresponsive inside the home. Now, firefighters took them to a hospital where they also later died. Now, the cause still remains under investigation. We'll keep you updated. The head of DJS facing sharp criticism from outside of the state. Why a New York congressman says his previous role overseeing inmates was a total disaster.
And we've got one more pretty cold day ahead of us, but if we take a look at the week ahead, you'll notice a warming trend gets underway. We'll see temperatures climb from the 40s to the 50s, actually nearing 60 by the end of the week heading into next weekend. I'll let you know when rain chances also return in just a couple of minutes. It's 7:09. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
Fox 45 News, winner of 16 2022 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other Baltimore news stations combined.
Okay, tapping your consumer news right now. Data from the U.S. Census Bureau shows the average American family is now spending over $270 a week for groceries. And get this, those with kids are shelling out around $330 a week. A combination of inflation, supply chain issues, and increase in demand have caused food prices to rise in most parts of the country. In states like California, Nevada, Mississippi, Washington, Florida, families there report spending over $287 weekly.
I seriously don't understand why I have to constantly put up with these dumb here every day.
Troubling audio of Pikesville High School principal allegedly making racially charged comments has spread like wildfire online. Why some believe the recording is fake. The response from Baltimore County Schools just ahead. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. Baltimore County Schools has launched an investigation into the principal of Pikesville High School. This after they were allegedly recorded making racially charged comments. The recording includes derogatory remarks about students and staff, but now a state senator says it was generated using artificial intelligence. Project Baltimore's Chris Papst has the latest on this investigation.
In an email to parents Wednesday afternoon, Baltimore County Schools Superintendent Dr. Miriam Rogers called the statements in the recording deeply disturbing, but said they cannot confirm the veracity of the recording at this time.
I seriously don't understand why I have to constantly put up with these dumb here every day. Between these ungrateful black kids who can't test their way out of a paper bag.
That voice allegedly belongs to Pikesville principal Eric Eiswert, seen here on the school's website. The clip is 41 seconds long, beginning with racially charged language about black students and their academic performance. A few seconds later, the derogatory comments turn from students to staff members.
Should have never been hired. And don't let me get started on I'm going to drag his black out of here one way or another.
In the final seconds of the recording, the conversation turns again to the community.
And if I have to get one more complaint from one more Jew in this community, I'm going to join the other side. Kathy, I'm done.
We do not know who recorded the comments or the context in which they were made. It's unclear when or where the statements were recorded. But as you heard, the speaker addresses someone named Kathy. Parents tell us they believe that's Assistant Principal Kathy Albert, though we cannot confirm that. Baltimore County State Senator Charles Seidner released a statement saying, "After listening to the audio recording, I immediately reached out to Baltimore County Public Schools. It is my understanding that the principals union claims that this recording is AI generated. While our system entitles individuals to due process, the nature of these comments warrant an extensive investigation." Eiswert has worked for Baltimore County Schools since 1997, according to his online biography. Before moving to Pikesville 3 years ago, he was an assistant principal at Newtown High School. Before that, he spent 20 years at Catonsville as a teacher and assistant principal. Project Baltimore tried to get in touch with Eiswert at his home Wednesday.
My name's Chris Pabst. I'm from FOX45 News. I was looking for Principal Eiswert.
The person who answered the door told us he was at work. When we called Pikesville High School, we were told the principal was not in the building. In an email Wednesday afternoon, Baltimore County School Superintendent Dr. Miriam Rogers told parents, "We are taking this matter seriously and have launched an investigation. Once we have determined the facts, we will swiftly address this incident." Project Baltimore spoke with several Pikesville parents who did not want to go on camera, but told us the comments were disturbing. Baltimore County Executive Johnny Olszewski has offered his administration's full support to BCPS during the investigation, saying in a statement, "Hate, discrimination, and prejudice have no place in our community, especially in our schools." I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.
Project Baltimore and Fox 45 News will stay on this story as the investigation continues. We'll evaluate the authenticity of that recording. But in the meantime, Project Baltimore wants to hear from you. Do you have a story to share about your child's education or a concern you'd like our team to investigate? Call that tip line on your screen or send an email to projectbaltimore@foxbaltimore.com. You can also find us on social media. All right, let's go ahead and talk about your forecast. Meteorologist Amy Aronson. Very cold outside. The snow is not melting as quick as I thought it would.
Yeah, it's because we've been below freezing now since that snow actually fell. Today we'll finally get back to near freezing. Plus we've got a lot of sunshine, so I think that'll help with a little bit of melting, but I think it's still going to be a couple of days before that snowpack really starts to melt and wash away. So right now we're at only 22 degrees. That's why we still have the snow on the ground this morning. We are tracking that warming trend this week. We're close to 32 today and even milder starting early week. And then the rain returns, so I think that's going to help wash stuff away, clean stuff up a little bit, especially all that salt left behind on the roadways too. And then we really don't have any more snow, at least in our short-term forecast for the next couple of weeks. In the next 3 days, we're just looking at a warm-up. Temperatures are closer to 40 degrees on Monday. That's the start of the warm-up. And then low 40s with mostly cloudy skies on Tuesday. Unfortunately, as our temperatures continue to increase, so will our rain chances. For the next couple of days, though, high pressure is nudging in from the north, helping keep us dry. Not much happening on the weather map right now. You can't even really see that next weather maker. First, the mild air is going to arrive, and then the rain chances will follow. So let's talk timing here. We're dry for your Monday. No need to worry about any delays or cancellations from weather. Tuesday, also dry, just turning mostly cloudy. Here comes the next weather maker, but instead of snow, it's rain this time. It's all green showing up on FutureScan. By Wednesday afternoon, I think we see the showers stream in from the west here, and then they don't really stop. That steady stream continues Thursday, Friday, actually all the way through next weekend too. And it's going to come with that mild air all the way through next weekend. Here's our 8 to 14-day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. You'll notice this runs all the way through February 3rd, and it does include us in these orange colors here, and that means we've got a pretty decent chance our temperatures will be running above average all the way through the first week of February. So that means chances for snow look pretty slim if you're hoping for more of the white stuff. But chances for rain actually look pretty high. So over the next couple of days, it's dry. Temperatures make a run for the low 40s. Mid 40s are back starting Wednesday, but that's when the rain also returns. And then we've got scattered showers. I think Thursday looks like a washout with highs back in the low 50s at that point. Near 60 degrees by Friday with scattered on and off rain showers. And then a few showers will linger through Saturday too. But at least it's still mild with temperatures about 10 degrees above average with highs in the mid 50s. Taylor?
Thanks, Amy.
New revelations in the investigation into the government's response to the coronavirus pandemic. I'm Christine Frizzell with some harsh new measures some Republican lawmakers are calling for.
Making headlines this morning, a live look over Capitol Hill, where the House Select Committee on the Coronavirus Pandemic is out with a new update on a recent closed-door testimony with the former director of the National Institutes of Health. It comes as Republicans continue to investigate the origins of COVID. Here's national correspondent Christine Frizzell.
As a mystery virus spread like wildfire throughout the globe, Dr. Francis Collins was in charge at the National Institutes of Health, issuing calls for action and orchestrating the public response.
There is this issue about children getting infected and then infecting others around them that may have an immune system that can't handle it. And that's one of the reasons I think we are so concerned.
A just-released email shows part of his response included calls for a, quote, quick and devastating takedown of a policy known as the Great Barrington Declaration, which outlined grave concerns about the damaging physical and mental health impacts of COVID lockdown policies, especially on children. GOP lawmakers revealing Dr. Collins in closed-door testimony also now concedes the lab leak hypothesis that the virus may have started in a lab in Wuhan, China, is not a conspiracy theory, though in the height of the pandemic, it was deemed as such, an opposing theory much more widely accepted.
It's much more likely that this was a natural occurrence.
Dr. Anthony Fauci remains a top target for Republicans, who argue his decisions cost lives, and his statements on the origins of the virus meant those who disagreed were punished.
He tried to downplay any idea that this could be coming from the lab. He convinced people like Twitter and Facebook to downgrade these stories.
Senator Paul now calling for more action.
In public,
he still denies it. He still denies that there was any U.S. funding of the gain-of-function lab in Wuhan, but he just hasn't been honest. So for his dishonesty, frankly, he should go to prison.
Democrats continue to defend Dr. Anthony Fauci, praising his work as a public servant. They're also blaming Republicans for politicizing the pandemic, promoting vaccine hesitancy, and spreading misinformation.
There is a complete dismantling of the importance of what vaccinations actually have done in this country and how many lives they've actually saved.
As a new wave of COVID spreads, how it all began and how those in charge responded remains under the microscope on Capitol Hill. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
Well, look, we may be done with this snow for the foreseeable future, but the rain is stepping in to take its place. Meteorologist Amy Aronson is tracking the next chance for showers in her full Weather Authority forecast. And Governor Wes Moore unveiling his budget proposal, but many big ticket items still unfunded. Fox 45 News is taking a closer look at the potential impacts on the state's budget. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning to you. Looking live over M&T Bank Stadium on a victorious Sunday. It's January 21st. I'm Taylor Stewart, and it's time to talk about your forecast here. Meteorologist Amy Aronson will tell you why the snow's really not melting.
Yeah, we're still down below freezing. We've been this way since that last weather maker moved in late last week, and we're still there. We're starting off in the 20s right now, so temperatures are down this morning. Anything left behind from that storm, yeah, it's certainly still frozen and a little icy. If you're wondering, when are we going to warm up? I think today we just barely get back above freezing. Low 30s, that's where we're headed today. Of course, it's not going to feel like that. We're still dealing with some winds gusting up to 20, 25 miles an hour, and that's what gives us that wind chill, making it feel about 10 degrees colder than the numbers you're seeing right here. Now, a warm-up is on the way. I promise we're going to melt down some of that snowpack this week. Coming up in 10 minutes, I'll let you know exactly when that happens and also when we're tracking our highest chance for some rain in the week ahead, too. Taylor?
This morning, Governor Wes Moore is standing by the work of DJS Secretary Vincent Schiraldi amid concerns from Schiraldi's former colleagues.
Vincent Schiraldi was a disaster. I'm telling you, as God is my witness, I could not believe what I saw.
I know that I've reached out to him on multiple occasions. Unfortunately, there has been a level of unresponsiveness.
Fox 45 News pressed the governor earlier this week. Jeff Abel joins us now with his response.
Secretary Schiraldi understands accountability, and he demands it.
While the governor calls him a reformer, those who worked with Vincent Schiraldi last are calling him something else.
Vincent Schiraldi was a disaster.
He lied to us about violence.
He promised things he never delivered, and he actually lied about the stats because we proved it.
From the New York City councilman who oversaw corrections to the union chief who oversaw correctional officers, both insist Schiraldi, who served 7 months as New York City's corrections commissioner, left New York's Rikers Island in critical condition.
He came in here with this mindset of providing everything for the inmate population and not providing things that we needed. Wasn't concerned about our well-being at all.
Nobody thought he did a good job. Nobody can say that he improved the criminal justice system or the jails in New York City. He made them much worse, period.
A year after leaving the New York Post, Governor Wes Moore appointed Schiraldi to lead Baltimore's Department of Juvenile Services.
I can't believe somebody would hire this guy to what we've been through in New York City. It just shows you there was a lack of really vetting this person.
For the past week, we've been asking the governor's office similar questions. What steps did the administration take to vet DJS Secretary Vincent Schiraldi? Is Governor Moore aware of the humanitarian crisis that occurred on Rikers Island during his leadership? After the fallout in New York, we ask, are DJS facilities in Maryland fully staffed? And what actions have the administration taken to ensure public safety here? The governor's office has not replied, but has indicated that questions about Schiraldi's past have already been answered.
Now, we still have a lot of work to do. But if there's anyone who is up to the job, it's our Secretary of Juvenile Services, Vinny Schiraldi.
For now, Maryland's governor is standing behind his appointee, but in New York,
the governor is living in the bizarro world because it couldn't be furthest from the truth that Schiraldi is the answer.
In my tenure, he's got to be the worst commissioner we've had.
Jeff Abel, Fox 45 News.
Schiraldi is at the center of some of the complaints we've heard surrounding juvenile crime and the justice system. During a town hall just last month, residents spoke out about problems involving DJS and Schiraldi's performance.
I think Schiraldi really came out short. He was very indirect, and in some ways he was very self-serving tonight. And really, this is about public safety. It's not about him personally. And I think there's a lot more accountability he needs to answer to. I think Schiraldi's got a lot of gaps in what his data presents.
When it comes to DJS, what do you think is going on with the secretary, and do you think that he understands the problem that is going on?
No, he doesn't, and he doesn't have to understand because it doesn't affect him directly. It's a paycheck to him. If you lived in a neighborhood that these things constantly affected you day in and day out, you'd want change and you'd want it now.
When it comes to hearing from DJS specifically, what do you want to hear from the secretary about what's going on?
His resignation. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but I just don't think he gets it.
Now, Schiraldi has expressed beliefs that young people should be kept out of the adult prison system until the age of 25. He says scientists have determined the human brain isn't fully developed until that age. On a Harvard University panel, Schiraldi said parole and probation should be eliminated, arguing the systems don't deter people from crime and don't aid in rehabilitating offenders.
One of the two things probation and parole are supposed to do is keep us safer. Parole made us less safer. Probation had no impact.
There needs to be some type of supervision for these people. I don't agree that all juveniles need to end up in a juvenile detention center, but again, some of them need to have some type of correctional supervision, AKA probation, because again, it's important for them to understand that what they did was wrong.
For more of our coverage on the Department of Juvenile Services and Vincent Schiraldi, you can head to our website, foxbaltimore.com. Meantime, in Annapolis, lawmakers are trying to finalize the governor's budget proposal and avoid a massive deficit. Now, Governor Moore, he says he's focused on the future, promising to fully fund the state's blueprint for education, or the Kerwin plan, as it's called. The governor also announced a $1.8 million investment for small business innovation research and $500 million for the Pavla Pair Innovation Acceleration Grant Program. The governor's budget comes in just a $63 billion fiscal year for 2025, which he says shrinks the state's structural deficit without raising taxes. But with many big ticket items still on the table, Fox 45's Jessica Babb spoke with county leaders who are asking how they will get it funded.
Happy Budget Day.
With a new budget announced,
We will achieve each of these goals without raising taxes on Marylanders.
and Maryland facing a daunting deficit.
This budget shrinks the structural deficit by 34%.
There are some tough decisions and challenges ahead.
There's key questions about how Governor Wes Moore's proposal will get paid for.
The funding sources are disappearing.
My major concern is to ensure that we are not passing the buck to the counties long term to carry too much of the burden that we can't sustain or afford.
Andrew Friedson, Montgomery County's council president, says with $3.3 billion in cuts to the Department of Transportation, it was going to cost them big in the county.
Included in those cuts, among others, was over $17 million in cuts to local bus service. Our local ride-on bus service serves some of our most vulnerable residents.
But since Governor Moore has announced a one-time, one-year solution of taking $150 million from the state's rainy day fund to offset some of those costs.
Well, it stops the bleeding, certainly. It's kind of like sending an ambulance to stabilize the patient.
But now the clock is ticking with the next challenge of sustainability, with a need for long-term solutions.
A punt on the difficult conversations on that expensive wish list of projects that do not have funding sources, punting those difficult conversations to next year.
And it's not just transportation. There's other big ticket items that will cost billions, from $1 billion in clean energy initiatives, $3 billion on the Red Line project, and $3.8 billion on the Kerwin Commission and education reform.
We're struggling with Kerwin.
It was a gut punch. We need the state to step up to help us to fund it. And we need to make sure that we are doing it in a way that doesn't fall back on the historical challenges we have faced, that when state challenges occur, they lean on the counties to solve them.
There's other initiatives in Governor Moore's budget, including $127 million in funding for local law enforcement agencies, $115 million to address housing needs, and $270 million for the child care scholarship, among many others. When the bills come due, the burden could still be on taxpayers.
These burdens that are passed along to the county do not free our residents from the burdens to pay for them.
Jessica Babb, Fox 45 News.
The state's rainy day fund sits at $2.3 billion, which is within the recommended savings level. Governor Wes Moore says he's pulling $150 million to help offset a transportation deficit. This is despite a warning from former Governor Larry Hogan as he left office.
It would be a mistake for the legislature to use its newly expanded budgetary power to return to the old habits of raiding the rainy day fund or recklessly spending down the surplus.
Governor Moore says dipping into the rainy day fund won't be a pattern. Earlier this week, we asked you, with a looming budget deficit, what should lawmakers do? 94% of those who voted believe lawmakers should shrink government rather than raise taxes. Getting paid to go to school, it sounds ridiculous, but could it actually help bring up attendance rates? The latest on the attempts from lawmakers in the U.S.
And after a quiet and cold weekend, we're looking ahead to our next weather maker. This one comes with some mild air first, and then rain showers get started midweek. Rain actually will take us through much of next weekend. I'll let you know what this could mean for the Ravens game next Sunday here in Baltimore in just a couple of minutes. It's 7:40. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
All right, now to an education alert for you. In Ohio, a pair of bipartisan legislators are pushing forward a bill that would allow a pilot program to make cash transfers to certain kindergarten through 9th grade students based on attendance rates. Now, lawmakers also want a graduation and grade point incentive included in this plan. It would pay up to $750 to students, get this, by 2024 to 2025, that academic year. Well, the bill is also being reviewed by a House committee. We'll keep you updated on that. Anchors away. Fox 45 heads to the 3rd annual Chesapeake Bay Boat Show. We got to see boats, we got to see deals, and you can check out what we got involved in this weekend. Stick with Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
This Fox 45 news segment is sponsored by Beacon Light Marina.
All right, well, Fox 45 headed down to the 3rd annual Chesapeake Bay Boat Show at the Maryland State Fairgrounds to catch up with Sheila Johnson with Beacon Light Marina to see what they were offering. Johnson tells us Beacon Light Marina is selling everything from Yamaha outboards to boats, even several trailer lines like Venture and Lowrite. She says if you think you're checking out a boat, you'll find some really good deals you won't find anywhere else.
The boat show brings together all the different manufacturers, and a lot of the manufacturers give us promos that are just for these 3 days only. So they'll give us a special promo. They actually just tell us about it maybe 48 hours before the show, and then we can offer the promos at the show that are just for the show only. So that's why it's a good thing to come to the boat show and buy a boat here at the show.
Johnson says there were a whole lot of exciting products, but one she really liked was the new 1.9-liter Yamaha boat engine with 200 horsepower, which is more than any of their previous models. If you want to check out Beacon Light Marina at the Chesapeake Boat Show, they're going to be there still today from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Definitely looking ahead more so to spring or summer because no boating right now. Meteorologist Amy Aronson, you'd be trying to wade through the ice, I guess.
Yeah, we're still trying to dig out here, right?
Exactly.
I know my driveway still has snow in it this morning because temperatures have been down now below freezing since last Thursday, actually. So we need things to warm up to help melt down some of that snowpack, or we just need to get out there and shovel. If you've been putting it off like me, today's not a bad day to do it. I would just bundle up. But the sun's going to be out, so that should make it feel a little better this afternoon. I'd say Monday and Tuesday, the best days for it. It's going to be milder, so that's That's going to make it a little more manageable. And then the rain returns on Wednesday, and that should help wash everything away and kind of clean things out for us. Right now, we are looking down at that snowpack over Towson. You can see the sun is already shining down on York Road, which actually looks pretty empty at this early hour. Lots of folks hopefully staying home, staying warm this morning. It's another cold one out there, starting off in the low to mid 20s. Little breezy, too, with winds still gusting up to 25 miles today, making it feel even colder again. So another brisk day ahead of us. Nothing really happening on radar today. We're nice and empty, at least for the next couple of days before our next weather maker gets here. So we've got time to kill before that happens. We'll enjoy sunshine both today and tomorrow, too. The clouds rush back in overnight Monday into Tuesday. Tuesday is still dry, but come Wednesday, that's when we notice a big pattern change. Mild air surges in from the south and west, and the rain will follow, starting late Wednesday morning, taking us through much of the evening. Steady showers will continue to stream through our region both Thursday and Friday, too. So a couple of very wet days ahead of us through the second half of the week and leading into the weekend. Here's a breakdown of our rain chances. Don't need to worry about them Monday and Tuesday. It's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday that rain chances increase, with I think our highest actually coming right in the middle there on Thursday. It looks like rain chances, unfortunately, will be sticking around for that big AFC championship game here in Baltimore, too, next Sunday. This is an early look at the forecast. Of course, it is still 8 days away, so not even in our 7-day forecast just yet. But I wanted to give you an idea. If you're considering heading to that game, I would plan on some scattered showers for it. But at least it's going to be warmer than yesterday's game, right? A far cry from the 20s. Instead, temperatures will be closer to where they should be for this time of year, and actually in the 40s for much of that game. Leading up to that, we are tracking a warming trend. We've got a stretch of the 40s that take us through Wednesday, and then the 50s make a brief appearance Thursday and Friday with that chance for rain each day. Even next Saturday, not bad, with temperatures in the mid-50s. Taylor?
All right, thanks, Amy. Well, after a dominating performance in the divisional round, the Ravens will host a conference championship. How Lamar Jackson's locker room speech sparked an electric second half.
Welcome into your morning sports report. I'm Rocco DeSangro. This city hasn't hosted an AFC championship game since 1970. The Ravens as a franchise haven't hosted one ever. But with a dominating win over the Texans in the AFC divisional round last night, that's all about to change. Players and coaches now one step closer to the ultimate goal. That's winning a Super Bowl, but they're taking things one game at a time, as they should. The bank was rocking for the divisional round showdown, and the stars were out on the Ravens sideline, tied at 3 in the first. Lamar Jackson just going to do Lamar Jackson things. Big 23-yard pickup with his legs on the play, and with that, the first quarter would come to an end. Second quarter now, same drive though. Ravens knocking, and it's Lamar Jackson connecting with a wide-open Nelson Aguilar in the end zone. 10-3 Ravens, but that was the only time they found the end zone in the first half. Ravens 3 and out on their very next offensive possession. Jordan Stout on to punt. Steven Sims fields it at the 33. Breaks a tackle, has some space, and check this out. He is gone. 67-yard return for a touchdown. Ravens fans hating it. Texans back in business, tying the game at 10. Ravens could not get anything going offensively to end the half. Lamar Jackson sacked for a loss here. This one tied at the break. Different story, though, in the second half. That could be due to a Lamar Jackson halftime talk with his team. Lamar getting it done with his legs to open the second quarter. 15-yard touchdown, second half rather, gives the Ravens the lead. Next offensive possession, Ravens in the red zone. Lamar to Isaiah Likely. Heck of an adjustment to make the catch. The second-year tight end with his 6th touchdown in 6 games. Ravens lead 24-10. After another stop on defense, Ravens back with the ball. Lamar with the cherry on top, running into the tunnel for his 4th touchdown of the game. He would come out of the tunnel. There he is right there. As the Ravens advance to the AFC Championship game for the first time since 2012, 34-10, the final score.
I thought our fans were incredible, man. It was deafening out there. So credit to our fans, first of all. Coaches and players, I thought, did a great job. Second half adjustments were really strong. And Lamar just played out of his mind along with our defense. Everybody did. So proud of our guys. It's the first step. The next step is in front of us. We'll find out who we play after tomorrow, and we're looking forward to it.
So with a 34-10 win over the Texans in the divisional round, the Ravens will host the winner of the Bills and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. Lamar Jackson, 4 total touchdowns. With the Ravens defense holding C.J. Stroud and the Texans offense out of the end zone, the only touchdown coming on special teams. Morgan Adsit caught up with one of the Ravens following the game. Morgan, not the same team from 2019, is it?
Yes, Rocco, these are not your 2019 Ravens. Of course, every season brings a new roster and a new team, but about a fifth of this roster remembers 2019 and that early playoff exit, and the Ravens wanted to make sure this go around as AFC North champs and the #1 seed that playoffs would be staying right here in Baltimore and run all the way through the Super Bowl. And one of those Ravens who was here back in 2019, nose tackle Michael Pierce, joined me one-on-one in the locker room to discuss that and the Ravens' huge divisional win over the Texans. I know, completely different team 4 years ago, but you've been on the other end of this before. Sure. How big was this? Getting the bye, you have the #1 seed, no rust, you come out here and take care of business in the divisional round.
It was major. Guys who were injured, we got Zay back, Zay Flowers back. Little Nixon injuries got to heal and just be unbothered. So got extra practice time, hard practice, just really hard this time, just to make sure that everybody was on point, everybody was focused. So now to get that bye, have our bodies fresh, was awesome.
Does it feel like a weight off the shoulders just a little bit to get back into it? And everyone's 0-0 in the playoffs, but you come out here and you're 1-0 now.
No, certainly. We stress coming out fast, literally every day of that break, every day of this week, just making sure that everybody knew. You know, a lot of guys weren't here in 2019, but the guys who were here knew, but everybody was on point. Hey, we got to come out starting fast, make sure everybody's on point, everybody's together. So that was literally our focus. I think everybody played a well-rounded game today, and that was the result.
Is the focus now enjoy it, but stack it? How do you approach?
Oh, certainly. No, I mean, we aim for 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. I don't know the exact date, but no, we're going to focus on who we get to play next week. We'll find out tomorrow. And, yeah, we're going to enjoy it today, enjoy it the next day, but Monday, recovery, we're back to work.
AFC Championship, first time in Ravens franchise history is coming through Baltimore. What does that mean to someone like you that's been here so many years and now 2 different times?
That's awesome. I didn't know it was the first time in history.
Yeah, for Ravens.
But no, that's awesome for our fans. Obviously awesome for us and our guys and our coaches and the costume all the way up. But that home field advantage is going to be sweet. So obviously we got to play that game, but it's going to be sweet to have it here.
When the defense shuts the offense out of the end zone, and then you see on the other side for you guys Lamar Jackson's 4 touchdown performance, what does that say about this team and any team facing you?
You're facing a complete team. Like I said, our defense has been playing well this year as well as Lamar. shameless plug, MVP. But no, man, we're playing a well-rounded team, a team that's hungry, a team that's focused. So I think that's what that statement says.
It was unusual playoffs on the AFC entering it for you guys. You faced all the teams except the two that you couldn't face for this, and now those are the two left that you could face. Any preference when you break down the Bills, the Chiefs, or you're just going to let it come to you naturally?
You just got to let it come. There's no point in just stressing, oh, we want to play the Bills or we want to play the Chiefs. Obviously, they're both amazing quarterbacks. So either way, we'll be up for the challenge, but we'll let it come to us and then worry about that when that result happens.
Thanks, Mike. Congratulations. The Ravens are not going anywhere. For the first time in franchise history, the Ravens will host the AFC Championship. It'll be either against the Chiefs or Bills, who play tomorrow night. Reporting at M&T Bank Stadium, I'm Morgan Atzit for Sports Unlimited.
I'm just going to say it because we were all thinking it. It looked like Michael Pierce was wearing the comfiest jacket of all time. That's going to do it for your morning sports report. I'm Rocco DeSangro. Thanks for watching, and have a great Sunday.
Next Sunday, the Ravens will either host the Bills or Chiefs right here at M&T Bank Stadium. We're talking about the AFC Championship, the excitement from the flock, plus the team's dominating performance yesterday against the Texans. And concerns over Baltimore's multi-million-dollar bike lane initiative, why some argue the city is not listening to research or public comment on the proposals.
And we've got another cold morning ahead of us, but a warm-up is on the way. I'll let you know exactly when that happens and when we're also tracking some rain in a couple of minutes.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Good morning to you. Looking live over Towson this morning as the snow sticks around with us for another few days here. Thanks for being with us this Sunday, January 21st. I'm Taylor Stewart. Let's go ahead and talk about your forecast. Meteorologist Amy Aronson. It was paint the town purple yesterday, and boy, the purple on your maps really conveyed how it felt.
Yeah, exactly. It was a cold one, but it didn't look like it from watching fans. They were all revved up yesterday and staying nice and warm in the stadium. But yeah, it's still cold out there this morning. We've got purple showing up on our wind chill map. This is how cold it feels. 5 degrees right now in Westminster. Pretty uncomfortable stuff. 11 in Cockeysville, 13 in Baltimore. So layers will be key again today, especially if the kids are still going out enjoying that snow that's still on the ground, because temperatures are still down at or below freezing this morning. We eventually make a run for the low 30s today. Feel like temperatures, though, stuck in the teens because we're continuing to track winds gusting in from the west and the northwest up to 25 miles an hour, making it feel colder than it actually is. Now, a much-needed warm-up is on the way this week, so I'll explain exactly when that happens and then when we're also tracking some rain and what that means for that lingering snowpack. All that's coming up in 10 minutes. Taylor?
All right, sounds good, Amy. Well, this morning in a city in crisis, police are investigating a shooting in the Eastern District. This happened on Cecil Avenue near Adams Park. Now, once police got there, they found a 25-year-old man suffering from a gunshot wound to the arm. He was taken to the hospital, treated for non-life-threatening injuries. But you know anything about this incident, give Crime Stoppers a call here. You can stay anonymous. That number on your screen, 1-866-7-LOCK-UP. Meantime, the snow and freezing temperatures Friday night did not stop violence from heating up on the streets of Baltimore. In less than 2 hours, Baltimore police saw a quadruple and double shooting that left 5 people dead. Commissioner Richard Worley blames the violence on easy access to guns. Our Vincent Hill joins us with the latest.
In southwest Baltimore, just after 8 p.m. Friday night.
Report of a shooting. I need you to start making your way over to Fair Lawn, 5222.
That shooting bringing Commissioner Richard Worley to the scene.
Upon arrival, our officers located 3 victims. All 3 have been pronounced deceased. All 3 are still on the scene.
3 adults killed and 1 injured, but Friday night's violence was far from over.
Can I get you this route to Pennington Hazel, getting a call for a shooting?
That shooting left 2 men dead, 5 people shot and killed in Baltimore in less than 2 hours, bringing this year's homicide number to 11.
Being frustrated is probably
Commissioner Worley addressing his anger when it comes to illegal guns.
I said the other day that I don't get frustrated, but I think the gun situation here in this city is frustrating.
This video captures the city's 6th homicide. 2 suspects, both with guns, chasing the victim, opening fire on a busy street.
How are they getting in their hands? Where are they coming from? Why are they so easy access?
The sounds of these gunshots, evidence of the city's 1st homicide that claimed the life of 16-year-old Noah Gibson.
But just the amount of guns on the street, I've never seen so many.
So far in 2024.
Commissioner, it seems like we started this year like we started last year with a mass casualty incident, mass shooting.
Even all through the year of 2023, a lot of incidents that would have not become shootings in the past became shootings because someone had a gun and was either argument or disrespected or something like that, and it turned into a shooting.
Deadly, with a lot of guns on the streets.
So we do know that there were at least 1 gun on the scene, possibly 2 or 3.
Well, continuing coverage this morning, more questions about Baltimore's bike lane plan as engineers and residents argue the city's falling short in its research. In fact, transportation officials admit they're only now really beginning to count how many bikers are actually utilizing those biking lanes. This initiative comes with a price tag of about $73 million.
We did get a grant where we have installed some bike counters in certain locations. Beyond the bike counters, I don't know that we have actual data.
If we are basing millions of dollars on a plan that is supposed to be moving forward into communities, we need to have that data readily available and available to the council people.
Well, those issues were brought up at a recent city council meeting, but in the meantime, on this stretch of Hartford Road, drivers have been backed up after the city eliminated 2 lanes of traffic to install 2 lanes for bikes. Transportation officials insist their redesign of city roads has been guided by a master plan that was approved over a decade ago. And that plan, they say, requires community input, yet some residents say they've never had that opportunity.
And the people who are being affected and victimized by these decisions, these arbitrary and capricious spending of dollars, seem to have no voice. We've been ghosted by government.
And we're here to bring that voice back here. Peace Chairman, the People for Elected Accountability and Civic Engagement, Giovanni Patterson, thank you for joining us this morning.
Hey, good morning, Taylor.
So let's talk about this. From a voter perspective, years ago, City Council leaders signed a bill that would fast track the bike lanes and its implementation. Here we are, nearly a decade later, underfunded, not done, and causing quite a big backup traffic-wise. Is it time to reconsider?
Well, I think, the time has been passed to reconsider. But yes, I mean, it does require, significant level of input from the community and, actual traffic studies. But it also goes into, how much are these things being utilized? They're following this model of if you build it, they will come. But, as much as they've been built, the bike lanes have been built out already, there's very, very, little use of them. And then you see the snow that we've gotten over the past,
this past week,
couple weeks. And if your only form of transportation is the bike, you're not going anywhere.
Well, we'll look at this. This project has skyrocketed in cost. Over $21 million have been allocated to it. And at this point, it's not even close to done. If the city wants to look at this from a financial perspective that says, let's be fiscally responsible, do they have to cut their losses, or do we keep going down this path?
Well, I think there's other things that we can prioritize, at the moment, right? Some of the bike lane, they're trying to implement bike lanes, but our streets aren't accurately paved, or trash pickup has still been a challenge in some neighborhoods. So I think it's a matter of priorities. I'm not saying let's get rid of the bike plans, altogether. I would say maybe let's reconsider where some of them go, but also let's get our priorities straight on, where we can really spend this money to have the best investments and return on investments for our members of our communities.
Interesting point there. If you think voters may share that same sentiment, what would you encourage them to do as council continues to have this conversation?
Well, keep reaching out to your council members. I know I've actually testified at the Complete Streets hearing, but just bring this up to your council members and let them know how and where you stand. I know we have several community members that are actually going to be speaking with transportation officials in the coming days. So, we can definitely stay abreast on what's going on there. But, definitely reach out to your council members. Go online. I think there's a really good Facebook group, City Voters Live, Baltimore City Voters, that has really been discussing this issue as well. So just make your voice heard.
All right, chime into that conversation and stay out the way of those bike lanes as they continue to be built. Thanks, Giovanni. Appreciate you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, let's move ahead here. Juvenile crime continues to be a top concern for lawmakers. The calls we're hearing from Annapolis as two top prosecutors say parents need to be included in the conversation.
And I am tracking a warming trend this week. You'll notice improving temperatures with each passing day. We're back in the 40s early this week, and then the 50s will follow, actually flirting with 60 by Friday. We've also got some rain chances too, so that's a bummer. I'll explain exactly when the rain arrives and when we have our highest chance for rain in a couple of minutes. It's 8:09. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
New this morning, 2 people are dead following an early morning fire in northeast Baltimore. This happened on Old York Road around 7 in the morning Saturday, where fire officials say they were called to the scene, met with heavy smoke billowing out of a 2-story building. One person was able to jump out of a window. They were severely injured. That person later died at a nearby hospital. A second person was found unresponsive inside the home. Now, firefighters took them to a nearby hospital where they also later died. The cause of this fire remains under investigation. Governor Wes Moore unveils his budget proposal, but many big-ticket items remain unfunded. FOX45 News is taking a closer look at the potential impacts on the state's budget. In Annapolis, lawmakers are starting to have conversations about the state's juvenile crime crisis, but one piece of that puzzle centers around parents. This morning, FOX45's Mackenzie Frost explains how some top prosecutors are looking to parents to help hold young kids accountable.
Annapolis is buzzing with lawmakers who are getting back to work now that the General Assembly session is in full swing. Top of the agenda for many, juvenile crime.
Like the governor said, everything has to be on the table, but we can't stay where we are now. We have to have change.
During a FOX45 News State's Attorney Roundtable, the top prosecutor in Prince George's County, Aisha Braveboy, says in order to hold kids accountable, parents need to be part of that conversation too. But to do that, she's advocating for a change to the current juvenile interrogation law that requires an attorney to okay questioning of a kid by law enforcement, even if the parent approves.
We're putting parents in a horrible position to say, we want to hold you accountable for your child, but you can't even hold your child accountable to you. That's a problem.
Braveboy is teaming up with Baltimore City State's Attorney Ivan Bates to urge lawmakers change the current juvenile justice system. Through a FOX45 News investigation, in August of 2023, it was uncovered that an 11-year-old in Baltimore County had been picked up by police more than a dozen times, all connected to stealing cars.
Parents have to be parents.
Then, Bates making it clear the conversation about kids committing crimes cannot happen without looking at parents, too.
If we start looking at the parents and holding the parents financially accountable for their children's actions, maybe the parents will start looking at what their children are doing a little bit more.
Just a few months later, a triple shooting outside Carver High School in October.
16-year-old shot twice, right torso, and a 15-year-old has one in the right leg.
Fast forward 2 months.
These two parents fell woefully short of their responsibility that day.
Bates putting action behind his words, charging 2 15-year-olds and 2 parents in connection to that shooting. According to charging documents, the mother and father went to the school with their 15-year-old son, allegedly helped him with an assault, and watched while their child pistol whipped another teen.
To see parents in a video participating in these types of acts to children is absolutely mind-boggling. If you're not going to be a parent to your children, then we will hold you accountable as well.
Meanwhile, Bates, Brave Boy, and several other states' attorneys are pushing lawmakers to do something about juvenile crime, making it clear this session is critical.
What's at stake if lawmakers don't get it right this session?
You know, I think our future is at stake.
So far, several bills are being introduced that supporters say will ensure young people are held accountable for their criminal behavior. It's just a matter of whether the political will is there in both chambers to move forward on some of the plans. In Baltimore, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Well, Bates and Brave Boy aren't the only ones calling for change to the Child Interrogation Protection Act. Howard County State Attorney Rich Gibson says while it is designed to protect children, it also inhibits police's ability to investigate crime.
Our youth deserve extra protections. I'm not against giving them extra protections, but we have to act in ways that promote the public's safety consistent with those extra protections.
Besides the Child Interrogation Protection Act, Bates and Brave Boy are also pushing to increase probation for kids found with guns. In addition, they also want lawmakers to classify groups who recruit children to steal cars as organized crime units.
A lot of what we're seeing now are more sophisticated operations involving multiple levels of people who are benefiting from this type of crime.
I think one of the things you see criminal organizations able to use juveniles and to say, hey, nothing's going to happen to you in the first place, so we're going to direct you to do that type of behavior.
Bates and Brave Boy are also asking DJS to notify a court when a young person violates home monitoring. Mackenzie Frost will be in Annapolis following every step of this year's session. Over the next 3 months, you can catch all of her reporting and coverage on air here or online at foxbaltimore.com. But you know it is cold outside if you take the dog out, and they don't even want to go outside. Let's go over to meteorologist Amy Aronson. That has been happening to a friend of mine, and it's been like that for days.
Yeah, so cold, so snowy. My dog loves the snow, so she is a fan of going out, but it's hard to walk on because the sidewalks are now covered with salt. So yeah, it's just a mess out there. We need a change in pattern, and that's exactly what we're getting this week. Of course, sunshine already shining down on M&T Bank Stadium early this morning, looking fantastic out there, just not feeling that great. We're still at 22 degrees. We end up close to freezing today. We are warming up this week, so that's a welcome sight, but then we're also tracking some rain. So rain returns midweek. No real snow in sight, at least in the short term. Over the next 3 days, it's going to be chilly, at least to start. We're back close to 40 on Monday, so that should help us melt down some of that snowpack. And by Tuesday, low 40s with increasing clouds ahead of that next weather maker. Not much happening on the weather map right now. High pressure is going to head in first, and then that next storm system will follow. Future scan shows that high pressure passing by on Monday, sending us bright sunshine. Clouds will increase on Tuesday, and then here comes the rain. So you see that green to our west there. We're tracking that, not blue this time. So this is not going to send us any snow. We'll send us some rain starting Wednesday. Showers will just be a steady stream through our area both Thursday and Friday, too. And it is coming in with some milder air. So taking a look ahead at our 8 to 14-day temperature outlook, you'll notice much of the country covered in this orange stuff. That's a decent chance for above average temperatures. And this outlook takes us all the way through February 3rd. So I think at that point, chances for snow look pretty slim. And in the next 7 days, we're really just talking a warm up with rain chances. We've got 40s that will take us through midweek. That's when rain returns and gets started. A high chance for some scattered showers on Thursday. More showers actually through week's end on Friday. At least it's going to be warm with highs getting close to 60. And then an early look at next weekend shows a few showers lingering through Saturday. But at least temperature-wise, we're running about 10 degrees above average with highs in the mid-50s. Taylor?
All right, sounds good. Well, still after the break, Fox 45 News takes you to the 3rd annual Chesapeake Bay Boat Show to see the boats and the deals you can still check out this weekend. And for the first time since January of 1971, the Baltimore Ravens will host an AFC championship at home. Who they could face off against, plus a look at yesterday's incredible performance against the Texans. Stick with us here at Fox 45 Morning News Weekend Edition, all local, all morning. All right, how about that win, Flock Nation? Taking a live look now at M&T Bank Stadium, where the Ravens, well, they beat the Texans 34-10. The win gives the Ravens their first AFC championship game since 2012. They'll face off against the Bills or the Chiefs. But look, the bank was rocking yesterday for the divisional round showdown, and the Stars were out on the Ravens sideline, tied at 3 in the first. Lamar Jackson doing some MVP things with a 23-yard pickup. And with that, the first quarter coming to an end. On to the second. Same drive, and it's Jackson to Nelson Aguilar, wide open in the end zone, making the score 10-3 Ravens. That was the only time, though, they found the end zone in the first half before tying the game at 10-10. But get this, Lamar Jackson putting the cherry on top with his 4th touchdown of the game. Final score, 34-10. The Ravens advancing in the AFC Championship game. Look, guys, first time since 2012.
I thought our fans were incredible, man. It was deafening out there. So credit to our fans, first of all. Coaches and players, I thought, did a great job. Second half adjustments were really strong. And Lamar just played out of his mind along with our defense. Everybody did. So proud of our guys. It's the first step. The next step is in front of us. We'll find out who we play after tomorrow, and we're looking forward to it.
Next, the Ravens will either host the winner of the Bills and Chiefs for that AFC Championship run. And the Ravens really turned it on in the second half, scoring touchdowns in their first 3 drives, while Lamar Jackson's speech played a huge role. That's coming up next in our Sports Unlimited. Meantime, some of you sent us really great photos and videos showing off your purple pride. Jeannie sharing these pictures of her family at the game. She says this was her first ever playoff game, and despite the cold, they look pretty excited to me. We hope you guys stayed nice and warm and had a ton of fun. And Holly, wow, okay. Adrian's sending us this picture, Baltimore Raven look, she calls it. I think she wins the award for the most purple outfit. Got the nails, got the eyes, the tiara. I mean, come on, we love it. We love to see what you're wearing for the AFC Championship game. There goes your challenge. Well, whether you're at the game or celebrating at home or maybe hitting a bar, we want to see how you cheered on the Ravens and how you're cheering them on next week. Scan the QR code on your screen. It will take you to foxbaltimore.com. Upload your pictures, upload your videos. It's all powered by Stackla. Well, this morning, obviously, Baltimore is showing off their pride today. Let's just look at social media to see how fans are reacting. Let's start here because I think this says a lot. Lamar Jackson haters right now. Hermit looking out the window. It's just a sad day for you. But look, this was really the moment. Things changed. The moment it was over for Houston. I would say the moment Lamar looked at the field. But hey, look, it was a great time to really just bring in that W with some fans and friends all bundled up here. Let's see, there was another one I really liked. Oh, yeah, Coach. Go ahead, Coach. Hit it. Hit it, Harbaugh, because you deserve it, because we are going to the championship. Look, we love seeing all the reaction for the first time in more than 50 years. Baltimore will be hosting the championship game. That's happening at M&T Bank Stadium. You can watch it right here on Fox 45 next Sunday. Kickoff is slated for 3 p.m. Okay, look, the snow's done for the foreseeable future, but the rain stepping on in to take its place. Meteorologist Amy Aronson tracks the next chance for showers in her full weather authority forecast. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Well, good morning to you. Thanks for being with us this Sunday, January 21st. I'm Taylor Stewart. And looking live over M&T Bank Stadium, it's still a very snowy day, but it's not falling. So meteorologist Amy Aronson will tell you what kicks in its place in a few days.
Yeah, we're going to wash all that snow away eventually. Today, it still sticks around because temperatures are well down below freezing. Lots of low 20s on the map this morning. So we're off to a cold start again. Perfect morning to stay in, cozy, enjoy some hot coffee. Not only are we starting off in the 20s, feels like the teens because we still have some winds on our hands today. And that will take us through the afternoon. So although it's going to be bright and sunny, temperatures will be stuck in the low 30s for another day. But then we've got a big pattern shift this week. We've got warmer temperatures moving in, plus we've got a new weather maker on our hands. And this one's going to be a rain producer instead of a snow producer. Coming up in 10 minutes, I'll let you know when we're tracking our highest chance for rain in the week ahead and what that means for that snowpack that's now on the ground. Taylor?
All right, sounds good. Well, in Annapolis, lawmakers are trying to finalize the governor's budget proposal and avoid a massive deficit. Governor Moore says he's focused on the future, promising to fully fund the state's blueprint for education, or the Kerwin plan, as it's called. He also announced $1.8 million for small business innovation research and $500,000 for the Pavel LePere Foundation, the Acceleration Grant. The governor's budget comes in at just over $63 billion for the fiscal year of 2025. He says shrinking the state's structural deficit without raising taxes is possible, but there are many big ticket items still on the table. Fox 45's Jessica Babb spoke with county leaders who are now asking how they'll get it all funded.
Happy Budget Day.
With a new budget announced,
we will achieve each of these goals without raising taxes on Marylanders.
And Maryland facing a daunting deficit.
This budget shrinks the structural deficit by 34%.
There are some tough decisions and challenges ahead.
There's key questions about how Governor Wes Moore's proposal will get paid for.
The funding sources are disappearing.
My major concern is to ensure that we are not passing the buck to the counties long term to carry too much of the burden that we can't sustain or afford.
Andrew Friedson, Montgomery County's council president, says with $3.3 billion in cuts to the Department of Transportation, it was going to cost them big in the county.
Included in those cuts, among others, was over $17 million in cuts to local bus service. Our local ride-on bus service serves some of our most vulnerable residents.
But since Governor Moore has announced a one-time, one-year solution of taking $150 million from the state's rainy day fund to offset some of those costs.
Well, it stops the bleeding, certainly. It's kind of like sending an ambulance to stabilize the patient.
But now the clock is ticking with the next challenge of sustainability, with the need for long-term solutions.
A punt on the difficult conversations on that expensive wish list of projects that do not have funding sources, punting those difficult conversations to next year.
And it's not just transportation. There's other big ticket items that will cost billions, from $1 billion in clean energy initiatives, $3 billion on the Red Line project, and $3.8 billion on the Kerwin Commission and education reform.
We're struggling with Kerwin.
It was a gut punch. We need the state to step up to help us to fund it. And we need to make sure that we are doing it in a way that doesn't fall back on the historical challenges we have faced, that when state challenges occur, they lean on the counties to solve them.
There's other initiatives in Governor Moore's budget, including $127 million in funding for local law enforcement agencies, $115 million to address housing needs, and $270 million for the child care scholarship, among many others. When the bills come due, the burden could still be on taxpayers.
These burdens that are passed along to the county do not free our residents from the burdens to pay for them.
Jessica Babb, Fox 45 News.
The state's rainy day fund sits at $2.3 billion, which is within the recommended savings level. But Governor Moore says he's pulling $150 million out to help offset transportation deficits and costs there. Now, this comes despite a warning from former Governor Larry Hogan when he left office.
It would be a mistake for the legislature to use its newly expanded budgetary power to return to the old habits of raiding the rainy day fund or recklessly spending down the surplus.
Governor Moore says dipping into the rainy day fund will not be a pattern. Earlier this week, we asked you, with a looming budget deficit, what should lawmakers do? 94% of those who voted say lawmakers should shrink government rather than raise taxes. All right, happening now, a bipartisan group of lawmakers have hammered out a long-awaited expansion of the child tax credit. Politico reports that the $80 billion package would also undo restrictions on a series of business tax breaks. The plan would be paid for by cracking down on a COVID-era program combating layoffs. Now, it faces hurdles by rank-and-file senators. It's subject to floor amendments, likely altering it significantly. Joining us live this morning to weigh in on that proposal, State Senator Sarah Elfreth. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Taylor. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. So, let's talk about this. The child tax credit potentially bringing some relief to families saddled with inflation, growing bills, debt. Talk us through the benefits of it and some of the pitfalls in getting this done.
Sure. Well, I hope folks are on their second cup of coffee before we talk tax policy. But this is a really exciting proposal because this Congress hasn't gotten a lot done in the last few years. But luckily, a bipartisan group have come together recognizing that 19 million children in this country live in poverty. Now, it's really hard to do well in school on an empty stomach. And so this will extend a tax credit that was established in 2021 but has since expired. It's going to lift an estimated 60 million children out of poverty whose families don't make enough to receive the earned income tax credit, but still, as you said, Taylor, our families are suffering from high costs of inflation, high costs of child care. It costs more to send one kid to child care than to the University of Maryland these days. So we want to make sure families can get back into this economy just like everybody else.
Just on Friday, Democrats expressed frustration that it didn't include larger allotments for expanding the credit. Why? Because we're getting it done. Tuesday, it looked like a shot in the dark.
Right. Well, that's all about compromise. That's the nature of this business, especially when you have a Congress that's made up of a two-party system. And so we have to work together to make sure that everybody gets something they want and need. And that's what this bill's going to do at the end of the day. We're going to make progress. But I look forward to hopefully getting to Congress next year and helping out in that effort.
Explain more on that. You are running.
I am running for the 3rd Congressional District, yes. Congressman Sarbanes, who's done a wonderful job for the last 18 years, announced his retirement. I've thrown my hat in the ring. Spent the last about 10 weeks running across the district, meeting folks, talking to them about what's most important. And it's the kitchen table issues. It's the inflation issues. It's childcare. It's housing. What Senator Barbara Mikulski used to call the macro and the macaroni and cheese issues. The kitchen table issues that really matter most to folks. And that's what I'm focusing this campaign on.
And right now it costs a lot to fill that kitchen table.
Yes,
State Senator Sarah Alfred, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Well, getting paid to go to school, does it sound ridiculous? Maybe, but could it bring up attendance rates? That is the debate, the latest attempt from lawmakers to get students back in the classroom.
And I am tracking our next weather maker this week. First, the mild air returns and then the chance for rain. Rain showers show up by midweek and then rain takes us all the way through next weekend. I'll explain what this means for the Ravens game next Sunday here in Baltimore in just a couple of minutes. It's 8:37. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
All right, well, happening right now in Ohio, a Republican state representative and a Democrat legislator say they want to get a bill passed that would allow for a pilot program making cash transfers to certain kindergarten through 9th graders. This would all be based on attendance rates. Now, lawmakers also want a graduation and grade point average incentive added to this pilot program. It would pay students up to $750 in schools during the 2024 to 2025 academic year. Currently, the bill is being reviewed by a House committee. Data from the U.S. Census Bureau shows the average American family is now spending over $270 each week just for groceries. And get this, those with kids are shelling out around $333 a week. A combination of inflation and supply chain issues among increase in demand have caused food prices to rise in most parts of the country. In states like California, Nevada, Mississippi, Washington, and Florida, families there report spending over $287 weekly. Wow. All right, well, let's get a look at today's steals and deals.
The following segment is sponsored by Naki.
You know, I am always looking for new products to help keep me and my family safe, and I spend a lot of time in my car. I know you do too. So I am so excited to introduce you to the Minolta Dash Cam. Now, this gives you evidence if you're in an accident, and that is evidence at your fingertips. It records exactly what happened, and this is going to save you a lot of money on insurance claims. And it's extra peace of mind. It's really an investment for protecting your family, and I love that. Now, Minolta, as we know, is just such a trusted brand, and you can record inside and outside of your vehicle. Also, the camera, high resolution, 120-degree lens, clearer footage than any other dash cams on the market. And it automatically, I love this, automatically records collisions when you're parked. How great is that? And as I say, it includes the windshield mount, the memory card, also this power adapter, everything you need to get started right here, all in one piece. So right now, we're offering 47% off the Minolta dash cam, and I want you to head to asadeals.com for this exclusive offer. This is just something, protection for you and your family that you are going to love.
Governor Moore is standing by the work of DJS Secretary Vincent Schiraldi amid concerns from Schiraldi's current and former colleagues.
Vincent Schiraldi was a disaster. I'm telling you, as God is my witness, I could not believe what I saw.
I know that I've reached out to him on multiple occasions. Unfortunately, there has been a level of unresponsiveness.
FOX45's Jeff Abel pressed the governor earlier this week. Now he joins us with Governor Moore's response.
Secretary Schiraldi understands accountability, and he demands it.
While the governor calls him a reformer, those who worked with Vincent Schiraldi last are calling him something else.
Vincent Schiraldi was a disaster.
He lied to us about violence.
He promised things he never delivered, and he actually lied about the stats because we proved it.
From the New York City councilman who oversaw corrections to the union chief who oversaw correctional officers, both insist Schiraldi, who served 7 months as New York City's corrections commissioner, left New York's Rikers Island in critical condition.
He came in here with this mindset of providing everything for the inmate population and not providing things that we needed. Wasn't concerned about our well-being at all.
Nobody thought he did a good job. Nobody can say that he improved the criminal justice system or the jails in New York City. He made them much worse, period.
A year after leaving the New York Post, Governor Wes Moore appointed Schiraldi to lead Baltimore's Department of Juvenile Services.
I can't believe somebody would hire this guy after what we've been through in New York City. It just shows you there was a lack of really vetting this person.
For the past week, we've been asking the governor's office similar questions. What steps did the administration take to vet DJS Secretary Vincent Schiraldi? Is Governor Moore aware of the humanitarian crisis that occurred on Rikers Island during his leadership? After the fallout in New York, we ask, are DJS facilities in Maryland fully staffed? And what actions have the administration taken to ensure public safety here? The governor's office has not replied, but has indicated that questions about Schiraldi's past have already been answered.
Now, we still have a lot of work to do. But if there's anyone who is up to the job, it's our Secretary of Juvenile Services, Vinny Schiraldi.
For now, Maryland's governor is standing behind his appointee, but in New York,
The governor is living in the bizarro world because that is, it couldn't be furthest from the truth that Schiraldi is the answer.
In my tenure, he's got to be the worst commissioner we've had.
Jeff Abel, Fox 45 News.
8:47 on this Sunday morning. If you still have to shovel out, you've got some time before the rain returns and moves back in. Today, I would bundle up. It's still chilly out there, so winter accessories still a great idea if you're going to be doing some shoveling, cleaning off the car if you haven't got anywhere since the snow last week. Monday, I'd definitely go for it. It's going to be a little more comfortable. Temperatures back in the 40s. Tuesday, even milder. I'd knock it out Tuesday because after that, the rain's going to move in, and that should help wash things away, but you want to get that snowpack down first. In Towson, we can still see some snow on the ground and on the buildings there, but York Road looks nice and clear, of course. Sun is shining, so that should help melt some of it down too. Temperatures not helping us out today. We're in the low to mid 20s. Pretty cold stuff. You factor in some winds coming in from the west and the northwest, and it feels even colder than that. Otherwise, radar looks crystal clear. Not much happening here with high pressure in control, technically. That's going to be the case for a couple of days before our next series of weather makers push in from the west and from the south. Let's talk timing. We're dry Monday. We're bright and sunny Monday, actually. Clouds return on Tuesday, so I don't think we have to worry about any school delays or disruptions this week from weather because our next weather maker just comes in with this. The green stuff, yeah, that's rain. We haven't seen this in quite some time. Rain will rush in Wednesday morning through the afternoon, through the evening, and then this steady stream of showers will just continue through Thursday, through Friday, and actually heading into the weekend too. So we are just looking at that stream of light to steady rain pretty much throughout the next couple of days, or actually through the week ahead. So Monday, Tuesday, dry. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday that we start off with the showers, and then they don't really let up. So showers will actually take us into next weekend too, and this will have an impact on the AFC Championship game right here in Baltimore. So if you're planning ahead right now, it's going to be much different than yesterday's game, and that's because it's going to be cloudy with some rain showers, but it's also going to be noticeably milder. We were in the 20s for that game yesterday. We're going to be in the 40s for this next one, so that's going to feel much more comfortable. At kickoff, I think we're actually close to 50. Now, leading up to that this week, we are tracking a warming trend. We've got a stretch of the 40s that take us through Wednesday. That's when rain returns, and then scattered showers will follow through the end of the week heading into next week, too. We are tracking a nice mild stretch coming up, though. We've got temperatures in the low 50s on Thursday and upper 50s by week's end on Friday. It's 8:49. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
Baby, it is cold outside, and while humans are feeling the chill, our fur babies might also be struggling too. Pet trendologist Charlotte Reed joining us this morning with ways we can keep our furry friends safe during these winter months. Good morning to you, Charlotte.
Good morning.
You've got quite the spread here. Let's start from left to right. Show us some ways we can keep our pets out of the cold and out of harm's way.
Sure. Well, let's start with Wally and Churchill. They're wearing waterproof insulated coats, very important, with also reflective properties, because at this time of the year, we're doing a lot more walking in the dark, early in the morning and in the evening. Also, you want to make sure if your dog wears boots or he's comfortable wearing boots, don't be surprised if you just start now, he loses one or two. So that's really important. So the other thing that you want to do is never let your dog off leash by a body of water or any time during this cold weather, snowy weather. And the reason is he might get lost. And that's why it's important for him or her to have a GPS tracker like Tractive. It's light, it's waterproof, so you don't have to worry. It'll track your dog live, so you can always find out where he is.
You mentioned the socks possibly coming off. Are there any other things we can do to make sure their paws are safe out there in the snow or ice?
That is a great question, especially this time of year when it goes from snow to rain. You want to think about ready, go, ice melt. A lot of times, ice melt, various ice melts, rock salt can damage paws. So this is pet friendly. It's made with pet safe ingredients. If they lick it, it's not going to harm them. The trace minerals give great traction for your car, but safety for your kids and your pets. Very important. The other thing that you want to do to take care of your pet's paws, and you know how it is, if they're walking, if they're cold, they start lifting their paws, then it's time to go home. You always want to wash your paws off, and that's why I bought some Wash Bar, the actual shampoo bar, as well as the Kanuka Plus Repair. And the reason I like to use that, those are natural ingredients from New Zealand, and Manuka and Kanuka actually have antifungal, antibacterial properties. So you want to wash the paws from the dirt, but you don't want those pets' paws to stay wet for long, prolonged periods of time, because your pets will get paw infections and they'll turn them red from licking. So those are two great products, but most importantly, I don't like to necessarily use commercial products. I'd rather use an all natural product, because you remember your pet is going to be licking his paws. Okay. Go ahead.
And final question here, just so we can keep them mentally, physically active this time of year, what are some quick tips you have, or some products that would help us do that?
Sure. Well, you want to keep them mentally and physically active with agility sets, puzzle kits, toys, but you also want to keep them healthy. So vitamins are really important. So this is Vitality 10-in-1 vitamins. It's great for skin and coat, digestion, especially this time of the year, immunity.